I had just bought my first new house and, at the top of the market. And
Usually a good strategy, actually.
Yeah. And then that crashed, and I crashed with the economy like millions of people did. And I lost over half of my coaching clients. That's how I made all my income. And I was coach salespeople and entrepreneurs. Lost over half my clients, lost over half my income, lived on credit cards, lost my house, could not pay my mortgage, and it's like when you're living the dream, right? You bought the house, I'm engaged to be married, we're planning a family, all of it, and then I can't pay the bills, I'm living in fear, I canceled my gym membership, I'm eating terribly, my habits fell off, I was a mess. And literally, financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, I was at the lowest point in my life. And a buddy of mine, John Berghoff, who I mentioned him earlier, he recommended I listen to this Jim Rohn audio. And I don't remember the name of it. It was probably Your Best Year Ever. I don't remember the name of it, but he said it was a life changer, game changer for him, and it changed my life. It was the catalyst for the miracle morning, if you will. It was one quote, and Jim Rohn said, "Your level of success," and I believe it's in all areas of life, right? But your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development. And when I heard that, I had probably heard it before, but it clicked, and I quantified it, and I went, okay, wait a minute. So if we're measuring success, however you define it, fulfillment, freedom, however you define it, if you're measuring success in any area of your life on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, it is safe to say that human beings aspire toward a 10, right? We want life to be as good as it can be, as happy and healthy, and our relationships to be as harmonious, and we want to experience as much love and freedom, and nobody is like, I don't want to be too happy or too healthy, I'll settle for like a 6. No, we all aspire toward this level 10. But as Jim Rohn said, your level of success, level 10 is what we want, will seldom exceed your level of personal development. I asked myself, what's my level of personal development? And at that time, I was in desperation mode. I would sleep till the last minute. I would sit in front of my computer till 9 at night, till my eyes were couldn't look at the screen anymore. I would eat something, watch TV, and go to bed, and rinse and repeat. And I realized my level of personal development is at a 2 or a 3. And I thought that's the disconnect. And it hits me that that's the disconnect for most of society. We all want this level 10, definition of success, whatever that is. But our level of personal development, if it's at a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or 5, the disconnect is we're not dedicating time each day to becoming the person that we need to be that is capable of creating the success that we want. We're staying relatively the same and wondering why our results aren't getting better. And I had the epiphany. I went, okay, I'm going to go home and I'm going to go figure out what do the world's most successful people do for their personal development. I'm going to do that. And it's like I said earlier, one of the most important beliefs you can have is do what other people do, right? And model their mindset and their actions, and you'll get similar results. And so I did a Google search, and it spent 30 minutes, and I looked for the number one, what was the most effective practice, and I ended up with a list of 6. It was meditation, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and journaling. And I went, which is the best one? And there was no clear-cut answer. The world's most successful people for centuries have attributed their success to one of these practices. For example, I saw an article, Fortune 500 CEOs who swear by meditation. And that was a paradigm shift because I always thought of meditation like monks getting closer to God. I never thought of CEOs that were attributing their greatest ideas and clarity that led to huge financial windfalls. I'm like, I guess I got to start meditating, right? And it went on down the line with these 6 practices, and I go, I don't know which one to do. And then the epiphany was, what if I did all of these? And I woke up the next morning, I did all 6 practices poorly. I didn't know how to meditate. My mind was racing. Affirmations felt super inauthentic the way I learned them. Visualization, it all felt kind of funky. But even doing it relatively mediocre, it was more of a mediocre morning that first day, I felt like this is it. If I start every day with this much clarity and energy and motivation and I'm learning something new, it's only a matter of time before I become the person that I need to be to create and sustain the success that I want in my life. And I was thinking 1% better every day, a year from now, it can be totally different. My life can be different. It happened so fast. In less than 2 months, I more than doubled my income. And I want to highlight, Brandon, that was in the 2008 recession. It was getting worse and worse and worse. and I doubled my income. And I want to highlight that because we're in that time again right now.
Yeah.
And I want you to realize that you are not at the mercy of the recession. You're in charge, right? Even though it was harder to get coaching clients, there were still people out there that wanted coaching, right? And I figured it out. In 2 months, I more than doubled my client load, right? I found those people. And so I went to my wife. The last part of the story is I said, sweetheart, I just signed on 2 new coaching clients. It's in less than 2 months because of this morning routine, literally, because I'm reading a book on getting coaching clients. I'm affirming that I can do it. I'm visualizing it every day. I said, we've more than doubled our income. It feels like a freaking miracle. She goes, it's your miracle morning. And I go, yeah, I like that. Miracle morning. And so I wrote it down. I never thought it'd be a book. But then I started teaching it to my coaching clients. And one by one after another, they went, I'm not a morning person, Hal. I go, no, neither was I. Here's I have 5 little tips on how to beat the snooze button. And 13 out of 14 of my coaching clients came back to the next call and they go, Hal, I'm Miracle Morning's changing my life. I'm selling more. I'm in better shape. I'm reading again. I'm on and on and on. And that's when the light bulb went off and I went, if this changed my life and I wasn't a morning person, and it changed 13 out of 14 of my coaching clients' lives and none of them were morning people, like 2 were, the world needs this. And then that's when I committed, I'm going to write a book. And, it took 3 years. I'm a slow writer and, self-published. And now, the rest is kind of history, as they say.
Wow. All right. So I can't let you off without explaining the 5 tips to beat the snooze.
Oh, yeah. We hardly ever talk about that. Brandon, you're so good. I should only give like 3.5 and then you have to read the book. No, I'll give all 5, dude. I don't care. Number 1 is set your intention before bed. And this is actually sounds like a like a softie. Dude, it's so crucial. Think about this. Your first thought in the morning is almost always the last thought you had before bed. And even maybe more accurately, your mental and emotional state in the morning is whatever mental and emotional state you dwelled in before bed. In fact, I'm writing the Miracle Evening right now. And that's it's essentially like that's a big crux, a big part of it. So if you go to bed feeling stressed and overwhelmed and thinking about all the millions of things you got to get done, first of all, it's harder to fall asleep. Your quality of sleep is usually poor, right? You might have some nightmares, but then you wake up in that state and you're like, oh God, I got to face it all over again. And here's what made me realize that is when I was a kid, there was no time better than Christmas morning to wake up.
I just wrote down Christmas morning. Because that's what I thought of. Christmas
right?
Morning.
Yeah. And so
you're never tired on Christmas morning.
Yeah. That's it. Are you ever tired? It doesn't matter what time you go to bed, how many hours you go to sleep, if you have terrible quality of sleep. And I realized, and I went, why can't I recreate that experience every morning? And then I reverse engineered it. Why am I excited with Christmas morning? Because when I go to bed, I have an intention. I might not set it consciously, but there's an intention that I am going to wake up. I'm going to run in the living room. I'm going to look at the presents. It's going to be the greatest thing. I'm so excited. And I thought, why don't I have that intention and that mindset every single night when I go to bed? So I wrote out these affirmations. I call them my bedtime affirmations. And if you get the Miracle Morning book, they're one of the bonuses in there. But the bedtime affirmations, it was like word for word that I would tell myself, no matter how many hours of sleep I'm getting, whether I wake up or I don't or whatever, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to jump out of bed. I'm going to have so much energy and excitement for the morning. I'm going to generate that. It's not dependent on something out of my control. I'm in control. So that's number 1. Set an empowering intention before bed.
By the way, I'll let you continue with the other 4. I just want, when I read the Miracle Morning, I read that part and I laughed. I mean, where you talked about just waking up early and how you'd want to, and I'm like, there is no chance that works. There's just none. And then the first day I did it, I was like, I'm so happy to be up right now. And it worked exactly as you said. So I just wanted to give some credibility there. It was amazing.
Well, and I will say this: if anybody is listening that like you that is does not consider themselves a morning person, join the club. We survey the Miracle Morning community regularly. There's hundreds of thousands of members in our Facebook group, and we it averages 72% that say they had never in their life been a morning person until they read the book, and now they do the Miracle Morning, 5-6 days a week, 7 days a week, right? So it's like most people, and that was my biggest fear writing the book, is I'm like, how am I going to convince people that will tell you, live and die by I am not a morning person, that they should become one, right? Yeah. And So that, but the majority of people, were like the Brandon Turners.
Yeah, it's also funny, like when you say things like "I am not a morning person," right? Like the most powerful words are the words that follow "I am."
Yeah.
Right. So I am not a morning. Well, that's because you keep saying you're not a morning person.
Yeah.
I noticed years ago I started saying, I don't like the phone. I'm not good at the phone.
Yeah.
I'm not a phone person. I would say that, and now today I hate the phone. I made myself that way. When I was younger, I used to use the phone all the time.
Yeah.
But I made myself not like the phone just by saying I'm not a phone person.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
100%.
Like I used to hate running, and then I committed to run. During the Miracle Morning, I was like asking myself, what's level 10 success in every area of my life? I did this like wheel of life. You've probably seen that.
Yep.
And I did, what level 10 in my relationships, my health, blah, blah, blah. And fitness, I was like, dude, running an ultra, because I had two friends that had run an ultra marathon, and I had never run more than a mile. And that was only in PE class in high school when they made you do it once a year, and I hated every moment, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, level 10 success would be doing what my buddies did and running a 52-mile ultra marathon. I have no idea. Like that's not even possible. The idea, I hate it, but I'm like, who would I have to become? That became the Miracle Morning game for me. It's who am I becoming every day? Who would I have to become to achieve that, right? And so the point is, I never in my life, just like I'm not a morning person. I've tried. I hate it. Can't become one. That's how I was with running. And then I started running, and I started out with half a mile one day, and then a mile, and then eventually 52 miles in a day. So yeah, you can transform any belief that you have about yourself.